Home at last. The bodies of the mother and daughter who died in Bali arrived back in Australia.
Train terror. A driver escapes with his life after crashing onto train tracks.
Steroid boom. Why more and more young men are breaking the law, striving for the perfect body.
Inside the mind of a killer. The crime sleuth helping solve this country's most chilling cases.
And the new Aussie comedy sensations taking the world by storm. Good morning. It is Saturday the 11th of January 2014. Thanks for your company this morning.
It is lovely to be here. Usually the last couple of weeks we haven't had anyone here for sport, but welcoming Clint Stanaway with us today.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, no, this is a special treat.
Quite a welcome.
We're yet to find out, but we'll see how the show goes.
Oh, good.
Hey, what a terrible draw for the Aussies in the Australian Open.
Absolutely. Well, I was standing next to tournament organisers yesterday at Melbourne Park, and to hear the opponents just, come up, obviously Tomic versus Nadal, everyone just laughed almost to think, how bad is this?
He's
Who do you think?
good.
Do you think Tomic can actually pinch a set off Rafael Nadal?
Well,
even just a set, you're saying he's no chance of winning?
He's through to the final though, the Sydney International, isn't he?
He is indeed.
He's going all right.
Yeah.
As long as he stays off the Gold Coast party scene, I think we'll be right.
We're all happy with that outcome. Now, we've got something else fun for you this weekend. You've probably, always wondered, Pete was telling me he can't sleep at night because he's always been wondering what the offspring of the likes of Brad and Jen would have looked like if they'd stayed together, other celebrity couples as well. Well, we've got the answer for you. Have a look.
wow.
That is what their baby would have looked like.
Quite terrifying,
Brad,
actually.
Brad dies.
Johnny Depp and Kate Moss's daughter.
Oh, okay, that one as well.
This is probably going to be a good one.
I reckon so. Oh, it's beautiful.
Sheesh.
Almost
like
looks
an
a little
angel.
bit like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's daughter.
Maybe
It does a
Shiloh.
little bit, yes.
be a weird kid as well.
Yeah, you're
Yeah, see, I'm
You're across your celebrity kids, aren't you?
I'm on top of this. Well,
Good stuff.
folks,
Too many years
let us
in
know
LA.
what you think, if it's uncanny or if it's freaky. Today at 9.
Definitely not the latter. All right, let's take a quick look at the weather now. A few storms and showers for Cairns today with a top of 30 degrees and a scorcher for Perth, 44 expected there. All right, it is time for all the news this morning with Tom Steinfort. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Sylvia, and good morning to everyone at home. A Queensland mother and daughter who died while holidaying in Bali have just arrived back on Australian soil. We'll go live now to 9 News reporter Sophie Walsh. Sophie, clearly a heartbreaking time for this family. All right, Sophie Walsh in Brisbane, thanks for the update. A home in Sydney's southwest has been sprayed with bullets. The gunman opened fire on the Liverpool property just after 11 o'clock last night. A number of windows were shattered and a car parked outside was also hit. No one was injured, and police say a silver or grey Lexus that was seen speeding from the scene may hold some answers. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. And a state of emergency has been declared in West Virginia after a toxic chemical spill contaminated the state's entire water supply. More than 200,000 locals have been affected, with residents warned against drinking, cooking, washing or bathing in the town water. The situation is now so dire that the Governor has called on the National Guard to distribute vital supplies, with bottled water and ice running out. And astronomers are preparing to catch a glimpse of the mysterious black hole at the centre of the Milky Way.
Out of this world.
Oh, I see what you've done there, Pete. You are sharp today.
You're on
Yeah,
fire,
man.
Pete. That's one of your best.
Don't worry, there's more of that to come.
You're a real shooting star.
Hold on tight.
Oh, yes.
Thumbs up.
There's far too much man love on this couch this morning. Weather and your first sports news is next with Clint. He's raring to go.
And that includes a horror draw for Aussies at the Australian Open and a big bash thriller forced to a super over. Welcome back. Petrol prices are fast approaching an all-time high. So, to help us beat the Bowser, we're joined by the world's most fuel-efficient couple, Helen and John Taylor. Good morning, Helen and John. What's the most common mistake that motorists can make?
There's quite a culture where drivers want to race you. It's definitely an aggressive type of driving, and it wastes a hell of a lot of fuel.
So don't rev the accelerator too much is tip number one.
Well, you're wasting about a third of your fuel there, Peter, just by being aggressive, and you don't get anywhere any quicker. So just by checking your tyre pressures when you go to your fuel station, you can actually save 3% of your fuel, and that's a very simple thing to do.
Thank you very much for talking to us today. Some pretty good tips there. Sylvia?
Every penny counts, Pete. Very good advice. Well, news, sport and weather are next on Weekend Today, and the real story behind Mary Poppins. Richard Wilkins checks out Saving Mr Banks. We'll have his review shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back to Weekend Today. Well, Disney has, of course, made plenty of feel-good family films over the years, but for the first time, they've made a movie about their esteemed founder. Tom Hanks plays Walt Disney, who goes head-to-head with the Aussie author of Mary Poppins, played by the brilliant Emma Thompson. This has phenomenal performances all round, as Richard Wilkins found out in his Movie of the Week.
4 stars there from Dickie. Still to come on Weekend Today. Are the recent violent attacks on our streets linked to the increase in performance-enhancing drugs?
But also, we're going to have Robin Bailey with What's Making News. Stay with us. We will be back shortly. Good morning to you, Melbourne. The early clouds are expected to clear and you are heading for a top of 25 degrees today. All right, it's time for What's Making News. Here's Tom.
Thank you, Sylvia. Let's get into the heart of what's happening around the country. And to do that with us, we have Brisbane Radio's Robin Bailey. Robin, Queensland government up there, their war on bikie gangs is really stepping up a notch. Now, every tradie in Queensland is facing a police background check. Is this going a bit too far now?
There is no question that certainly on the Gold Coast we had some serious problems with bikie gangs, and since these laws have come into place there has been a vast improvement. What happens if maybe in your misspent youth you were in a bikie gang and then you came clean and did the right thing and then got into a trade? Does that then mean that the police will do a check on you and say that you can no longer work? This sort of stuff really doesn't sit well with me. I don't like the whole idea of Big Brother watching.
Now, this next one, seeing it pop up all over the internet, Neck Nominate. It's a craze that's seeing people sculling a schooner of beer in different places, posting it on the web and then telling their friends they've got to do it next. There was stuff like planking, which was pretty harmless, but are these internet trends now becoming quite dangerous?
This is like really stupid. I don't understand this. Tom, you're a bloke. Is this cool in any way, shape or form to you?
It's, I've seen a few of my mates and yeah.
And there is the rub, Tom. You know, you got to say no. This is stupid. Let's move on to the next thing. Is there twerking? Let's go back to twerking. No one got hurt in twerking.
Well, we'll see what happens when I nominate you next, Robin. All right, we'll move on. Now, thongs are fine at some places, RSLs and that. We're being told there's a change in dress codes starting to come across the country. One part of this new article I love, though, is that people are getting checked for rat's tails at the door. Is that fair enough?
You know, it's good for me, I think, that it's being relaxed. But, you know, if you want a certain clientele, then I guess you tell people what they can and can't wear.
Indeed. It's a real shame that rat tails are out. That's great Australian tradition.
I can't imagine you with a rat tail, Tom. Sorry, it just isn't working with your whole look for me.
I'll wear that as a badge of honour. Robin Bailey, thank you for joining us this morning. Pete, Sylvia?
I reckon the rat's tail's going to make a comeback at some point.
Especially if Tom Steinfort brings it back.
News, sport and weather coming up on Weekend Today.
But next, from ponds full of fish to new toilet seats and kittens. You won't believe what Hollywood's biggest names demand in their dressing rooms. That's coming up. Good morning, Brisbane. After a possible early shower, the temperature will head north to 29 degrees today. It is looking gorgeous there in the River City. Well, joining us now with all the morning's celebrity goss is the Daily Telegraph's Elle Halliwell. Good morning, Elle.
Good morning,
Elle.
guys.
Well, we know music stars ask for some unusual things, and Tom and Sylvia make some ridiculous demands here on the Today Show on the weekends. It's something that I've struggled to get used to, actually.
That's funny coming from you, Pete.
But can you tell us what sort of outrageous requests we're seeing from some of the world's most famous
very
people?
Unusual things going on in Celebrityville when it comes to their riders, what they request when they're on tour. Now, Lady Gaga, I think we all think that she's going to request these crazy things, but she's probably the most normal: plain roast chicken, no alcohol, and tea and coffee. Jennifer Lopez, as well as having a completely white room, she also requests her coffee to be stirred counterclockwise.
Wow.
I don't know whether that's because it tastes better or not, but I might try that actually after this segment. Yeah, see what it
Pete has some unusual coffee demands.
Oh, really?
We'll talk about them a little later.
Okay.
Elle, we'll talk to you a bit later in the
Great,
show.
thanks,
Thank you for
guys.
that. All right, here are the top stories on today.
It's Saturday, the 11th of January 2014. Good morning, everyone.
And it is bang on 8 o'clock, so let's get all the news headlines with Tom.
Thank you, Sylvia. Good morning to everyone at home. The bodies of a mother and daughter who died in Bali have arrived home, a Virgin flight bringing the pair's belongings and remains back this morning. Nolene and Ivana Bischoff died after becoming violently ill on the first day of their holiday on the island. Indonesian authorities say there's no evidence of foul play. They believe the deaths were caused by an allergic reaction. And the shipwrecked Costa Concordia cruise liner is set to be refloated in June. It comes just days before the second anniversary of the ship's grounding, which killed 32 people. Several Italian ports are now bidding to take in the wreck and dismantle it for scrap. All right, let's get all the sports headlines. Here's Clint Stanaway.
Thanks very much, Tom. Good morning to you. It was a fun day out for Australia's cricketers just yesterday, but they say it's back to business now with plans of inflicting more pain on England this summer. Some of those tennis names, you sort of give yourself a fist pump when you get them out.
Yeah,
right?
you get through them, mate. Yeah, like a Leighton Hewitt. Come on,
exactly.
You should do one of those at the end of the sport.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Clint. Coming up on Weekend Today, the steroid boom, why so many young men are turning to illegal drugs to help achieve the perfect body. We'll have more on that story in 10 minutes' time.
Yeah, it's a hot topic, but right now it's time for weather with Natalia Cooper. She's on the Gold Coast for Magic Millions. Natalia, have you found a horse? You have.
Yeah, I have. I found this beautiful girl here. Her name is Mining Tycoon and she is 4 years old and she actually won a race. I'm sorry, I'm quite pathetic. I'm getting scared of a horse. She won a race on Wednesday, so today is a day of rest for her, which is just fantastic.
Natalia, we look forward to it. Thank you. Well, the bodies of Nolene Bischoff and her 14-year-old daughter, Ivana, who died mysteriously in Bali last weekend, have this morning returned to Australia. For the very latest, we're joined by 9 News reporter Sophie Walsh from the Brisbane airport this morning. Sophie, good morning to you. It's been such a distressing and difficult week for this family, and this morning, no doubt, a very emotional morning for them as well.
With them were their personal belongings that they took on that ill-fated holiday to Bali. Now, the mother and daughter died suddenly last Saturday within an hour of reaching the island after falling violently ill under mysterious circumstances. There has been a lot of speculation as to how and why they died. Some believe an allergic reaction, others believe severe food poisoning.
And Sophie, of course, the family had requested that the bodies be brought back to Australia so that the autopsies could be carried out here at home. So what is the next step now? What happens to the bodies?
As I said, they've been taken to a clinic here in Brisbane, the John Tong Clinic, where those autopsies will get underway. Hopefully in coming days we will shed some light on why these beautiful mother and daughter passed away.
Yeah, that family will be desperate for some answers. Sophie Walsh in Brisbane, thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Well, the past few years have seen an increase in performance and image-enhancing drug use among young men. Why has there been that increase?
Well, we know very little about the prevalence of steroid use in this country, but the evidence that we do have would suggest that if there is an increase, it's primarily amongst young men, and it's driven by body image.
What sort of problems would you have down the track?
Well, the greatest risk is that if you use before you finish your growth spurt, you just actually don't complete your growth spurt. It prevents that from occurring, and of course, I think when people are all about their body, that's one thing they don't want to have happen.
But what do steroids actually do? Do they just feed the muscles?
Well, it's pretty complex, but I suppose it enables you to train more. It enables you to train through injury. So you have to work really hard to when you use these drugs. It's not like you put them into your body and all of a sudden you explode and get muscles all over your body. It enables you to train harder and I suppose longer periods and through injury. We haven't won the war when it comes to body image in women. I think we've got a very long way to go when it comes to body image in men.
All right, Paul Dillon, thank you very much for coming in here. Some very good points that you've made there. Well, music, art and tattoo fans from around the world will descend on the Gold Coast this weekend for the Surf and Ink Festival. First of all, can you just describe some of the ink that you've got there, because it looks mighty impressive?
I've had work from a lot of artists. My main artist is Josh from Sink or Swim in Brisbane, who's done all of my arm, also my chest. And also Mimsy from Mimsy's Trailer Trash Tattoo has done my right arm.
All right, Sean and Betty, thanks for your time this morning. And Sylvia might show off her tattoo a little bit later on too. She was telling me about a full skull and crossbone that she got over her back a couple of months ago.
Well, at least I have the guts to get one done. News, sport and weather are next. I don't really have one. That's coming up on Weekend Today.
Then, check this out. The Aussie brothers behind the comedy hit Superwog join us on the couch.
Now there's not going to be enough food.
Welcome back to Weekend Today. Now, we have been talking all morning about... all morning, in fact, over the last couple of weeks even, on the combination of celebrity babies and
the
what
celebrities who've split up, and if they'd stayed together, what their babies would have looked like.
I think there's no bigger celebrities at the moment, though, than you two.
Turn it up, mate.
I've been talking to the graphics department. We've come together with a little something special.
I don't feel comfortable about this,
Tom. If you two did perhaps combine, this is what might happen.
What is that?
What's going on there?
You have such pretty eyes, Pete.
I reckon long blonde hair works on me.
Yeah, you should give it a go. We're all too scarred by that image. Let's get some news now with Tom. Thanks for that, Tom. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Look, I think we'll go a bit more serious now on the news front, and the family of Nolene and Ivana Bischoff will now begin the process of organising a private farewell after the pair's bodies arrived in Brisbane this morning. A man has had a lucky escape in the Blue Mountains overnight, and for the details, we're joined by Nine reporter Elle Walsh at the scene. Elle, take us through what happened. All right, Elle, thank you very much for the update. Clint Stanaway has been doing very well with the tennis tongue twisters from Eastern Europe. Let's see how you go this time.
Here we go. Thanks very much, Tom. Good morning to you at home. 20 overs wasn't enough for the Perth Scorchers and Sydney Sixers in the Big Bash League. And the Brisbane Broncos have confirmed Corey Parker and Justin Hodges will co-captain the side for the upcoming season. All the action from Melbourne Park on Monday, but on Sunday we've got the cricket to look forward to.
Who's your tip, Australian Open?
I'd love to see Roger Federer win because I'm such a romantic tennis fan, but you'd have to say one of either Nadal or Djokovic. Probably the Joker. I've just had a crack at 3 there. So.
Yeah, there you go. Hedging your bets.
Let's say Djokovic.
Good on you, Clint. Thank you very much, mate. We'll talk to you a little bit later. Coming up on Weekend Today, the Aussie brothers turned comedy sensations. Join us in the studio in 15 minutes.
Oh, that's going to be fun. Right now, that's time for weather with Natalia Cooper.
You know, Pete, you can actually wear a top hat as a lady. What do you reckon of this? Top of the morning to you. Do you like that one?
I do like that one, yeah. I did the Royal Ascot Carnival in London a few times and got myself in a top hat, and they are quite the fashion accessory. Thanks, Natalia. It's time now for the Weekend Grill, though, and we're joined this morning by therapist Karen Phillip and social commentator Lisa Oldfield. Conscientious objection to childhood immunisation is on the rise as parents have found a loophole in the new no jab, no play law that allows unvaccinated children to be enrolled in childcare centres. Lisa, first of all, should parents be told if their kids are playing with unimmunised children?
Absolutely, Peter. And look, I would feel very uncomfortable with my child playing with children who are not immunised. Not only because the toddler is exposed to children who are not vaccinated, but I wouldn't want one of those children coming into my home and potentially exposing my new baby.
Karen?
There's such a small amount of children that may have a reaction to a needle compared to the protection that these immunisations give children and the community.
And what about the fines, up to $4,000? Is that excessive?
That is ridiculous.
Finally, the hidden world of masking has been revealed in a new documentary called Secrets of the Living Dolls. It's about the growing number of men who transform themselves into female dolls. I don't know about that. Could you ever imagine your husband doing that?
Oh gosh, no. But interesting segue. You know, I'm exhausted with all these people that don't vaccine their kids. I haven't had a lot of sleep. I would love to have one of those masks just to not have to worry about hair and makeup. No, look, obviously they're not hurting anybody. It's it's harmless stuff. But perhaps they should seek some sort of psychiatric help.
Oh look, it's confronting because it's different and it's new. They're not hurting anyone. And, good luck to them. If they want to do that, yeah, why not?
Do you see this catching on? Is this going to be a new trend here?
Not particularly, I don't think so.
Hi, Grandpa.
Thank you for coming in, ladies, and discussing that with us.
Pleasure, thank you so much.
Beat that.
It is impossible, but I will give it my best shot, Pete. Thank you. Now to the latest dance craze that will leave you in knots. It's called tutting. Originally practiced by young funk dancers, tutting draws inspiration from ancient Egyptian hand and arm movement. It's very cool. J-Funk, can you give us some tips on how to tut? What's the beginner's course?
So like if my left arm and my left hand are the path, and this is
look like I'm praying.
Following, and I'm just tracing.
Like that. You can't see what I'm doing, can you? I could be doing anything.
Right.
I'm nailing it, J-Funk.
I'm sure you're
totally
getting
nailing
it. I'm sure you're getting it.
And all the best for the future.
Awesome, thank you. Nice meeting you guys.
You too. All right, time now to find out what is happening in celebrity news with the Daily Telegraph's Elle Halliwell. Now, first of all, Elle, Mark Wahlberg has lashed out at One Direction's Harry Styles in particular.
Yeah, poor little Harry.
Poor little Harry.
The actors threatened to actually punch him. Protective dad, I think.
Now, moving on, The Voice, they're hitting our shores.
Yes, well, we did see Darren McMullen fly in yesterday into Sydney, and he's got a new girl on his arm.
Is that right?
Yes, Teen Wolf star Crystal Reed. Now, the pair was seen at Sydney's Opera Bar, having a nice afternoon drink, enjoying the Sydney sunshine.
My eyes will be peeled for Ricky Martin.
Yes, wait at the airport with me, okay?
We'll hold up a sign. We're ready for you, Ricky. Thank you, Elle. We'll speak to you soon. All right, here are the top stories on today.
It's Saturday, the 11th of January 2014. Thank you for joining us, folks, and good morning to you.
Good morning to you. It is right on 9 o'clock, so let's get the news with Tom Steinfort.
A 20-year-old driver has managed to scramble from the path of an oncoming freight train after crashing his car onto a railway line in the Blue Mountains west of Sydney. The man lost control at Blacksland at around 9 o'clock last night, smashing through a fence and dropping 10 metres onto the tracks. A 70-year-old man has died after crashing his mobility scooter at Kirrawee, south of Sydney, just after 7 o'clock last night. The man is thought to have lost control as he travelled down a steep street and died at the scene. More than 300,000 people are without drinking water after a toxic chemical spill contaminated supplies in West Virginia. Live now to Nine's Darren Curtis, who's in the US. Darren, how long is this expected to last? All right, Darren, thank you for the update. And it's great to have Clint Stanaway with us here today. A bit of trivia. Clint and I went to kindy together.
We did.
Apple Tree Hill Preschool.
Many years
Quarter
ago.
of a century ago. Nice to see you again, Clint.
Well, yeah, haven't spoken much since then, so you look a bit different out of your Santa costume, but we'll get to that a little bit later in the show. First to cricket, and Australia's cricketers plan on enjoying another victory over England when the one-day series begins tomorrow. Following the 5-0 Ashes clean sweep, the Aussies believe they can do it, and on the Gold Coast, they will turn to racing today with the Magic Millions. Unencumbered is favourite to take out the big race. Yesterday, there was some cash splashed at the yearling sale. Gay Waterhouse spending a cool $1 million for the Redout's Choice Colt. Good-looking colt, that.
Clint.
A bit like you, Pete.
Oh, thank you very much,
boom.
mate. You know what? I reckon Bernard Tomic's going to beat Rafael Nadal.
An upset.
Big call.
I said he'd take one set, but if he wins
I'm
it,
calling
it'd be
it.
massive.
Are you going to put money on that, Peter, or are you just going to throw it out there?
$2 on it.
Come on, mate. Hey, big spender.
Slap.
All right, we'll see if that comes to fruition or not.
Right. We will do.
Good luck with that. All right, coming up on Weekend Today, have you ever wondered how the police catch our most notorious killers? We'll take a look at the investigations into some of Australia's most chilling crimes in 7 minutes.
Weather now, though, with Natalia Cooper. Hey, Natalia.
It's back to the studio.
Thank you, Natalia. It will be a terrific day on the GC. Of course, it always is. Well, still to come on Weekend Today, mansions of the rich and famous, the hottest Hollywood homes. They're on the market.
But next, what makes a killer? We delve inside a criminal's mind. That's just in a few minutes. Welcome back to Weekend Today. Well, what drives a person to kill? And once they have, how do you catch them?
Stepping into the mind of a murderer has been the life's work for investigative crime reporter and author Justine Ford, and she joins us now. Where do detectives even start?
Well, they've got to start at the beginning.
Are prime suspects obvious?
Sometimes the most obvious person isn't always the killer.
But it's quite often the case though, that the person closest to the victim is the murderer.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's all fascinating stuff. Justine, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Lovely to be here. Thank you.
All right, after the break, fancy living in Matt Damon's house?
Matt Damon.
Or perhaps you'd prefer Katy Perry's mansion. Who wouldn't? We're inside the hottest Hollywood
Matt
homes
Damon.
on the market in 3 minutes. Say it again.
Matt Damon.
That's what you get for waking up in Vegas.
Welcome back. Now, in news just in, we heard a little earlier that Tom and Clint went to kindergarten together in Victoria. Now, Tom's mum and Clint's mum, they've both come to the party.
No,
they have delivered.
No, they didn't.
They've sent in a couple of photos from kindergarten.
Tony,
First of all,
don't
Clint.
do it.
Isn't that the cutest little kanga you ever did see?
I was bitter that I missed out on the gig as Joseph in
hang on, you're
Nativity.
You're a donkey
I was
aren't
the
you?
donkey in the Nativity play.
You're not happy about it,
You
Stannis?
still pull off the same face when you finish your sport grades.
Yeah, when you stuff up the Russian tennis players. All right, Tom, you're not off scot-free.
Here we go, Tommy.
Come on, Mrs. Steinfort, what did you
Right,
deliver for us?
What do we got?
Here we go. Oh, you can't gush over yourself.
He's the cutest.
Do you know what I want to know?
He
It's a
was
bit
much
like
happier.
sitting across from a mirror for you two this morning, because you're almost a bit twin-like, don't you think?
Oh, come on.
Come on.
Really?
Give us, yeah.
We wore the same shirt once last weekend and now we're twins.
Oh, well, look, I think it goes further than that. All right, well, after the break, kale and coconut water had their 15 minutes of fame in 2013. So, what is hot for this year? We've got the list in 3.5 minutes.
Feel better, put the lime in the coconut, drink 'em both.
Well, when we think about Mexican food, and I think about Mexican food all the time, tacos, burritos and nachos immediately come to mind. But there's far more to it than that. Here to show us a healthy twist is the editor of Delicious magazine and cookbooks,
Valley Little. Valley, thank you for being another woman on set today.
Oh,
the three
yes.
amigos are getting a bit much for me. What is unique about this recipe in particular?
Oh, probably the fact that it's so easy to prepare, and it's just a really great way to feed a crowd. If you know you've got a few people coming over, or Australia Day weekend, you want to do something like this. It's like a marinade, and it's just brown sugar, olive oil, and this wonderful stuff here called pimenton, which is smoked paprika.
Okay.
Basted on.
Now, when that goes in the oven at a very low temperature, doesn't it?
I like to cook fish at a low temperature. And
Stop it from drying out.
Yeah, it stops it from drying out. It stays beautifully moist inside. Throw that in the oven. And the other good thing
In
is
our
you can eat this
pretend
hot
oven?
or cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
So,
and we've got one
yeah,
cold.
we've got one
It's already
here.
prepared.
Yep.
magically.
Ta-da.
Magically.
It's done.
One we prepared
it like
earlier.
that.
So you can see how it comes out like. Now there's just some corn
A
chips
nice array.
and some sour
Bit of
cream too.
Plenty of coriander, boys.
That's
Put a little
absolutely
bit of-
delicious.
There you go.
Gracias.
Beautiful. All right, we're going to give it all a go, throw it all together. And
Yeah.
We'll come back shortly. What do you reckon,
We will
Pete?
do, yeah. We will do indeed. Still to come on Weekend.
Weekend today.
All the trackside glamour from the Magic Millions
Don't you
Racing
hate it when
Carnival.
the salmon gets
I'll
stuck?
speak a lot better. Welcome back to Weekend Today, where we are enjoying a Mexican fiesta.
It is quite the
With,
fiesta.
With everything going on. Muchas gracias.
We're really keeping it real here on the Today Show today.
Yep.
Now, of course, Magic Millions is coming up. We've already got our headwear ready for the races today. All the coverage on Channel 9 today.
Fascinators.
You're fascinating,
yeah.
Pete.
Hey. These are
Well done.
fascinating
All right, we're
fascinators.
tucking into our special Mexican salmon as
pretty
well.
well.
We hope you've had a terrific morning. Share it with you if we could, but sadly, there is hardly any left already. Have a terrific Saturday.
See you tomorrow.
Enjoy the races. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.